Just a gentle reminder. First, please silence your cell phones. Check. Just to make sure that it is actually on silent. Oftentimes, we think that it's on silent, but it's not, and it'll interrupt the Khutba. So please take a moment to look at your phone and check to make sure that it's on silent. Next, if you do have young children, alhamdulillah, always bring your children to the masjid. But if your young children are having difficulty participating or listening to the Khutba for the duration of the Khutba, please, you can use your parents and your sisters, or if you're a brother with a young child, you can go downstairs to the Khutba. Just to make sure it's not interrupting the Khutba, especially in this room, the sound is very, very easy. So please, silence your cell phones and manage your children so that they don't get the Khutba. Shukran. Assalamu alaikum.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء، واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم، ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد، فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله، وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، وشر الأمور محدثاتها، وكل محدثة بدعة، وكل بدعة ضلالة، وكل ضلالة في النار. أما بعد، فقد روى الإمام أحمد عن أبي الحوراء قال: قلت للحسن بن علي رضي الله عنهما: ما تذكر من رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم؟ فكان مما قال: كان يعلمنا هذا الدعاء: اللهم اهدني فيمن هديت، وعافني فيمن عافيت، وتولني فيمن توليت، وبارك لي فيما أعطيت، وقني شر ما قضيت، إنك تقضي ولا يقضى عليك، إنه لا يذل من واليت ولا يعز من عاديت، تباركت ربنا وتعاليت. Imam Ahmad rahimahullah ta'ala, he narrates that one of the tabi'een, Abu al-Hawra, he asked al-Hasan ibn Ali the grandson of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, what do you remember about Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam? Because Al-Hasan radiallahu anhu was very young at the time of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasallam. So he asked him, what do you remember? So Al-Hasan radiallahu anhu, he said, from the things that I remember about Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam is that he taught me this dua. This dua, as we may have recognized, we often hear it in the witr prayer. And we often say it ourselves when we make the qunut. The Prophet ﷺ taught Al-Hasan ibn Ali radiallahu anhu to say, Allahumma hdini fi man hadayt. Oh Allah, guide me along with and from among those you have guided. This is one of the most important acts of a believer, is to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for hidayah, to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for guidance. And this is the answer to the question. Some people may ask, when they say, why do we keep saying in Surah Al-Fatiha, Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim, guide us to the straight path, when we are already Muslims and we consider ourselves to be on the straight path? The answer to that is that we have no guarantee that we will remain on the straight path. That's purely up to the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And how many people are on the straight path, but then they leave it? So it's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy that He keeps us on al-hidayah, on guidance, and that we keep asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala more than 17 times a day, saying, Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim, guide us to the straight path. And being shown the guidance is not enough. Many people, you talk to them about Islam, or you talk to them about what they should be doing, yet they still ignore it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about the people of Thamud, وَأَمَّا ثَمُودُ فَهَدَيْنَاهُمْ فَاسْتَحَبُّوا الْعَمَى عَلَى الْهُدَى. As for Thamud, we هَدَيْنَاهُمْ, meaning we showed them the guidance. فَاسْتَحَبُّوا الْعَمَى عَلَى الْهُدَى. They preferred blindness over guidance. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed Thamud, and He sent them a prophet, and He gave them the signs. This is the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Did they accept the guidance? No. They preferred blindness over the guidance. So we as Muslims have no power to guide people. All we have is the power to show people the way. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep us firm on this guidance. The Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam said, بَادِرُوا بِالْأَعْمَالِ فِتَنًا كَقِطْعِ اللَّيْلِ الْمُظْلِمِ يصبح الرجل مؤمنا ويمسي كافرا ويمسي مؤمنا ويصبح كافرا يبيع دينه بعرض من الدنيا. The Prophet ﷺ said, rush to do good actions, good deeds, before a time of great fitna comes, which will be like a dark night coming down upon people. A man will come in the morning as a believer, by the end of the day he has left Islam. Or a person by the beginning of the night they're a believer, by the morning time they are a kafir. And this person will sell his religion for a very small price. This is the fitna that could exist in the end, or that will exist in the end of time. So we have no guarantee, as the Prophet ﷺ is saying in this hadith, that we will stay upon Islam. But from the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that the one who wants the guidance and asks Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for guidance, we hope from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy that He would not allow this person to go astray. But we should continue to have that fear and concern. Even the Prophet ﷺ, from the dua that he often used to make was, Ya muqallib al-qulub, thabbit qalbi ala dinik. Oh, the one who changes the hearts, keep my heart firm on your religion. Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam said, Rabbi junubni wa baniya an na'bud al-asnam. Oh Allah, oh my Lord, prevent me and my offspring from ever worshipping idols. وَعَافِنَا فِي مَنْ عَافَيْتَ. Then the Prophet ﷺ taught us to say in this dua, O Allah, give us afiyah from among those people that you have given them afiyah. Al-afiyah means to have safety and security and protection and good health, to be prevented from all kinds of harms and sicknesses. So it's a very general term. Al-afiyah is one of the things that the Muslim should be asking for the most. And oftentimes, we miss out asking for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for certain things, but we don't think what situation that thing might come in. For example, somebody might say, oh Allah, give me a lot of money. Oh Allah, give me a lot of money. And then when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala finally answers their dua, that person is in a state of bad health, for example. So we should add to our dua, Allahumma aafini. Oh Allah, give me afiyah. Allahumma inni as'aluka al-afiyah. Oh Allah, I ask you for afiyah and safety and security and good health and protection. Al-Imam Ahmad, he said one time, I was making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help me memorize the Quran. And I didn't add anything else to this dua. I just said, oh Allah, allow me to memorize the Quran. Oh Allah, allow me to memorize the Quran. So he said, finally, when I was able to memorize the Quran, I was in prison during that time. I was in prison, and that was the time that I was able to memorize the Quran. So he said, from then, I would add to my dua, oh Allah, give me such and such in afiyah, when I'm in good health, and when I'm in a state of security and safety. Al-afiyah also includes not only physical protection, like good health or safety and security, it also means afini fi qalbi. Oh Allah, give my heart afiyah. Oh Allah, protect my heart. And this would include spiritual diseases that a person may face or encounter in their heart that nobody can see. We think about diseases of the heart as going to the doctor and seeing what's wrong with your heart. But there are diseases of the heart in Islam which are relating to spirituality, which are relating to your connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For example, if our hearts are filled with riyah and showing off for other people, if our hearts are filled with hasad and jealousy of others, these are spiritual diseases of the heart that no one would ever know. And the ulama, they mentioned that these diseases of the heart that we also ask Allah to give us afiyah from, there are two main kinds. أمراض الشهوات وأمراض الشبهات. The sickness of the heart, which is relating to desires, and the sickness of the heart, which is relating to doubts. So a person, for example, they may not be able to control their desires. Every time a sin appears to them, they go ahead and watch it, or they do it, or they go to that place where the haram is being committed. So they never prevent themselves. So these are called shahawat. A person is not able to prevent themselves from their desires. As for shubuhat, this is even more dangerous in our day and age, which is the doubts that enter a person's mind about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, about the religion of Islam, about the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And the solution to this is the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, increasing your connection with Allah, and also seeking out answers to the questions you have with beneficial Islamic knowledge, asking qualified people so you can have your doubts answered, so that you do not have them lingering in your heart. Rather, you try to look and find a correct and good answer for the doubt that you are facing. Then the Prophet ﷺ says, وَتَوَلَّنَا فِي مَنْ تَوَلَّيْتَ. Oh Allah, tawallana means be our wali. Be our protector and guider and protector and guidance and support. This is the meaning of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala being your wali. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the wali of the believers. Allahu waliyyu alladhina amanu yukhrijuhum min adh-dhulumati ila an-nur. Allah is the wali, the protector and the supporter of the believers, and He rescues them from darkness to the light. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قُلْ أَفَغَيْرَ اللَّهِ أو قُلْ أَغَيْرَ اللَّهِ أَتَّخِذُ وَلِيًّا فَاطِرَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. Should I take anyone as a wali other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He is the one who created the heavens and the earth? إِن يَنْصُرْكُمُ اللَّهُ فَلَا غَالِبَ لَكُمْ. This is the meaning of Allah being your wali. If Allah supports you, then no one can defeat you. Remember the story of Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, when he faced the ocean right in front of him, and the army of Fir'aun is right behind him, and his own people were doubting, and they were saying, "Inna lamudrakun," we are about to be caught by the army of Fir'aun. What did Musa alayhi salatu wasalam say? "Kalla inna ma'iya rabbi sayahdeen." My Lord is with me, and He will guide me. So the ocean opened up before him. Likewise for us, brothers and sisters, when we think we are in the most difficult situation, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with us, if we are asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for His support and His help, He can rescue us from the most difficult calamity and the most difficult situations. Then the Prophet ﷺ taught us in this dua, saying, وَبَارِكْ لَنَا فِيمَا أَعْطَيْتَ. O Allah, give us barakah in everything that You have given us. Al-barakah. What does al-barakah mean? When we say, give me barakah in my wealth, give me barakah in my children. The ulama, they said it comes from the same root word as al-birka, which is a large amount of water, which is a big amount of water which will not move from its place. So they said al-barakah, al-khayrul kathir al-thabit. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives a lot of goodness and blesses something to the point that He puts a lot of good in it. And al-barakah is the difference between a Muslim's worldview and a non-Muslim's worldview. Because a non-Muslim will look at numbers. They will look at, I could make this much money, and I could make this much on this investment. If I gamble, I could make this much money. If I put this much money in an investment that's haram, then I can grow it. But a Muslim does not only look at numbers. We do not only look at the material aspect, but rather we look at the barakah also. We say, oh Allah, give me barakah in my health and my wealth and my children. Because maybe a person might have a lot of wealth, but that wealth is only a pain for that person. Some people have a lot of wealth, a lot of money, a lot of real estate, and their children are in such a bad connection with the parents that they actually say, we wish our parents would die so that we could take all of that money. This is the lack of barakah. A person might have so much in this worldly sense, in a material sense, but that so much is so little. They would rather have nothing when it comes to the pain that it brings them. We can have barakah in our time also. The Prophet ﷺ said, Allahumma barik li ummati fi bukuriha. Oh Allah, give barakah to my ummah in their early morning times. Some of the Sahaba, they said from that hadith, I would go out in the early morning after Fajr and start to do my business, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed me immensely because of that. If you take that time after Fajr and do not go back to sleep, but do some adhkar and then memorize some Quran, or learn some beneficial Islamic knowledge, or read about the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ, you will find there is barakah in that activity and also barakah in the rest of your day. You will have blessing in your time because of the dua of the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet ﷺ then said in this dua, وَقِنَا شَرَّ مَا قَضَيْتَ. O Allah, protect us from the evil that You have decreed. Somebody might say, does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decree the evil also? The answer is, does anything happen in the heavens and the earth without the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Is anything happening without the decision and the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Everything that happens is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us from the evil. And this evil can take many forms. But we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to seek refuge in Him from all of these evils. And if we look at the meanings of al-mu'awwidhat, when we read Surah Al-Falaq and Surah Al-Nas, we see that we are asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala constantly every day to protect us from all the evil. From the evil of the night when it comes and the evil that comes out at night time. from the evil of ash-shayateen, the evil of the devils, and the shayateen from the human beings also. There is much evil in the world. So you have to constantly ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect yourself, and to protect your family, and to protect the entire Muslim ummah from this evil that is all around us. إِنَّكَ تَقْضِي وَلَا يُقْضَى عَلَيْكَ. O Allah, you decree, and no one can decree over your decree. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is the one who makes all of the decisions. And no one makes a decision about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask us, and we will not ask Allah. لا يسأل عما يفعل وهم يسألون. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not be asked about what He does, but they will rather be asked about what they have done. We live in a time, brothers and sisters, where many people talk about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what they expect Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should do for them. And Allah didn't give me this, and He didn't give me that, even though I'm deserving of it. And some people say, I will be a Muslim if Allah gives me this. And if He doesn't give me it, and if He doesn't show, as you will be their supporter. Anyone that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is their wali, that person will never be disgraced. As for the one that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or has taken Allah as an enemy, and Allah has taken this person as an enemy, this person will never be honored. No matter how much money they have, no matter how powerful they are, even if they're a president or a king and they have armies at their command, this person is not honored. They are not honored in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَمَن يُهِنِ اللَّهُ فَمَا لَهُ مِن مُكْرِمٍ. Honor belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to the believers, the righteous believers. إِنَّهُ لَا يَذِلُّ مَنْ وَالَيْتَ وَلَا يَعِزُّ مَنْ عَادَيْتَ. This should also tell us, brothers and sisters, that honor belongs to Islam and al-Muslimin. We should not feel an inferiority complex. Many times as Muslims, we are ashamed of ourselves. We are ashamed of how we look. We are ashamed of who we are and the countries that we come from. And we are ashamed of our religion. And the time for prayer comes, and a person will let the time for the salah go completely. Why? Because they will not pray in a place where others are praying. And they might make some excuses about, oh, I'm afraid it happened to me. But the real reality is, we do not want people to know that we are Muslim. And we want to hide our identity, and we want to hide Islam. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given the honor and the belief, the honor to the believers. If we ever get embarrassed thinking that we have to pray where people might see us in public, I have to say something at work which relates to me being a Muslim or coming for Jumu'ah prayer. Think about the difficulty that the early Sahaba had when they prayed in front of the Kaaba and they possibly could have been killed for that action. When somebody from the mushrikeen might come and physically attack them. Somebody physically came and attacked the Prophet ﷺ while he was praying in front of the Kaaba. People were killed for the sake of their Islam. So if we are embarrassed nowadays to pray because somebody might see me praying in this park when the time for Salah comes, there's a big difference between us and the time of the Sahaba. We have to think about the honor that they had for the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Tabarakta Rabbana wa ta'alayt. Finally, the end of this dua ends with the praise of Allah. And whenever we make dua, we should always praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This means, Tabarakta Rabbana, kathurat khayratuk ya Allah. Oh Allah, your blessings are many. Wa ta'alayt, and oh Allah, you are high, above your creation. You are above what people think of you. You are above all of your creation, so no one could ever reach you. You are above the heavens and the earth and al-arsh subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most high, al-a'la wal-'ali subhanahu wa ta'ala. Tabarakta Rabbana wa ta'alayt. As'al Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala an yanfa'ana bima qulna wa sami'na walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'een. Amma ba'd. Brothers and sisters, many of us have heard about the situation of our Muslim Ummah in Pakistan and the flooding that is happening there. And the Prophet ﷺ said, مثل المؤمنين في توادهم وتراحمهم كمثل الجسد إذا اشتكى منه عضو تداعى له سائر الجسد بالحمى والسهر. The Prophet ﷺ said, the example of the believers in their love and mercy for one another is like the example of one body. If part of that body is sick, the rest of the body will react with fever and sleepless nights. This is how we should be as Muslims with any country. And nobody should say, why did you mention Pakistan and you didn't mention this country? We should think about the situation of Muslims all over the world. But then we mention the most pressing situations when they come up. How can we help our brothers and sisters? We can help them by donating money. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not only reward you for the sadaqah that you are giving, but this is from the right of the believers. When one believer has something and another believer does not have it, that they should share that goodness and the wealth that they have. These are the rights of the Muslims over one another. We have everything, alhamdulillah, and some of these people have absolutely nothing. So to donate and to share the wealth that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us with, and also to make dua for our brothers and sisters, and to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to relieve the suffering. Allahumma ighfir lil muslimeen wal muslimat wal mu'mineen wal mu'minat al ahya' minhum wal amwat innaka sami'un qareebun mujib ad-da'awat. اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين وأذل الشرك والمشركين. اللهم الطف بعبادك المؤمنين في كل مكان يا أرحم الراحمين. عباد الله، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اذكروا الله العظيم يذكركم واشكروه على نعمه يزدكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون.